Good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 3. I'm actually going to be starting our video over in the Goal Getters group. I think I have hay in my hair. I was feeding the horses earlier, and I think I have hay in my hair. So there's that. That's extra awesome. You guys get a little clip of life on the farm. So I wanted to kind of open today up with some questions and get kind of some of your feedback before we dive in. We may actually get everything covered today instead of only doing short videos. All right, let's get this going. Go live over in the Goal Getters. All right. Good morning, Danielle. Good morning, Buffy. Good morning, Joe Marie. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, so I want to kind of turn it over to you guys. I'm going to do like a little bit of a recap while you guys are typing in your stuff, your thoughts, your questions, anything that really came to you guys in the last couple days that came to you doing the workbook, and just see how you guys are actually like really feeling about it. Questions if you happen to have any on what you'll be getting from the branding course. The link for that is up in the comments. I'll post it here too for you guys. And we will pin it so it's easy to find. I'll post over here for the Goal Getters also. It's kind of a wacky thing doing 2 locations of live video at the same time. I will tell you guys that, that's for sure. But it's good. It's really cool that you can do that because for some reason, I can't like link the groups together. So if I post a video over there and then try to share it here for you guys, if you're not in both groups, you can't see it, which I totally get it. All right, so let's kind of do a little bit of a recap. I'll wait for you guys to type some stuff in. Yes, Buffy, I saw that. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you. Okay. So we kind of talked a little bit about unlearning some of our old bad habits and our old thoughts and the thoughts that were like holding us back because, you know, it's like we think about how we have to be perfect to be that coach, to be the one that stands out. Hey, Mallory, good morning. I'm so glad so many of you guys are popping on here. I know it's like early in the morning over here on the West Coast. But I know it's also smack in the middle of your guys' workday on the East Coast too. So, so thank you for taking the time out of that day and popping on here. So we talked about unlearning those, right? Unlearning our old quote unquote brand, what we thought our old brand was, what we thought our old message was, what we thought we needed to do and should do to show up to be, you know, equivalent to our uplines or equivalent to that other girl in, you know, that other situation, who's that other coach. Like a lot of times people, let me get this microphone over here. A lot of times people talk to me and they tell me things like, well, I kind of just want to, I'm trying to make sure I have the right microphone on, but I guess I cannot. So that doesn't matter. I don't think I have it going anyway. You know, you haven't had success until you're showing up in a certain way. And that certain way might be, you know, like a lot of times, and I've done this to myself, I've compared myself to like, oh, well, I haven't hit success until I'm, you know, I put it in my post yesterday, until I'm drinking champagne in a ball gown in front of the Eiffel Tower. But that's not true. Good morning, Bonnie. That's not true because that's not me. Even if I went and saw the Eiffel Tower, which is on my bucket list to go do that, I'm probably not going to be gallivanting around France in a ball gown because I really don't have any desire to do that. Now, if if something happens and, you know, somebody wants to sponsor me to do a photo shoot in front of the Eiffel Tower drinking champagne, that's a whole different story. But just to say that that's that lever of success, like that's the criteria to having made it. I think a lot of us have put ourselves on that platform and on that having that expectation before, but that's not what success looks like for me. That's not even it at all. You know, France, I just want to kind of like jump in and, you know, see a few things and then move on to London and a few other things. Like I just want to be a tourist. I don't. That's not for me. And that doesn't define me. So I want you guys to think about all those things that you have as expectations for yourself on what you've been thinking that you needed to do, needed to be, needed to have, places that you needed to go, whatever that looks like. to have that success. So just because maybe that's the truth of your upline, it doesn't have to be the truth of you. If maybe that's the truth of other coaches out there, but that's on them. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's just that we can't try to fit ourselves into the mold of what other people are doing, because then we'll always be chasing something that may never happen. I'm still drinking coffee. I've legit, you guys, like I woke up at 4 o'clock. This is not my usual jam because I don't usually like to wake up that early in the morning. Woke up at 4 o'clock, worked out with my husband, cooked him some breakfast, made him his post-workout smoothie, had like half a cup of that, and I went back to bed. Then I got up, fed the critters, having some coffee, and starting my day with you lovely ladies. So, so that's my story. So I still have like workout hair, and it's awesome. It's just awesome. So those are some of the things that I want you guys to really think about and journal about and write down, like, what are the things that you've been thinking you had to do all this time that you actually find now are holding you back? Do you have to post in that way? Do you have to get up extra early to do your workout in order to be successful? No, you don't. Nope, nope, nope. When I was doing health coaching, I used to do my workout on my lunch break. I used to work out after work. Sometimes I would work out before work, you know, like if I had somebody who was hopping in, but it's not a requirement. You don't have to do that unless that's the way your lifestyle goes, right? Unless that's the only time that you have, and that's the time that you choose. So there's lots of other ways that you can do things. There's lots of other ways that you can share your message. There's lots of other ways to get across your personality aside from just one strict, rigid way. So I want you guys to really think about what you've been taught. Not so much taught like, you know, somebody sat you down in a classroom and taught you these things, but just things that you've picked up from society, right? Like in my post from yesterday, it was that, you know, girls need to be perfect. You know, girls are raised to be perfect. Boys are raised to be brave. Why can't girls be raised to be brave? Why can't we have both? Why can't we be brave and kind? Why can't we stand up and say what we want to say? You know, we talked about storytelling yesterday. Well, storytelling, again, goes back to the beginning of time. But, and this is like that fight or flight thing is ingrained in us, right? So if you didn't fit in with your tribe back when, you know, we were like really like tribal nomadic people before civilization and agriculture and living in actual houses, it was survival of the fittest. Either you were killed because you didn't fit in, because you stood out, you stood up, or you just didn't make it. So typically, you know, the fear was you just kind of did the best that you could in the role that you were given in that tribe, and you made it work. And if you didn't make it work, you didn't make it. Then, you know, you fast forward a few, you know, tens of thousands of years or however long, and you think about women, like when they stood up and they were, you know, they had an opinion. And, you know, this kind of goes back over a lot of years, with the exception of, I think, some like native cultures, that if you were a woman who had a very strong opinion, if you were a woman who had very strong knowledge, you were considered a witch, and you were likely burned at the stake. So, you know, even you think about, like, Bonnie can relate to this, she's over there in Boston. You even think about, you know, that like all those women who were burned at the stake in Salem in Massachusetts, you know, hundreds of years ago. And that was only hundreds of years ago. That wasn't even tens of thousands of years ago. It was hundreds of years ago. We were persecuted for standing up and standing out. Now, those particular women, it was all, you know, if you go there and you get the history on it now, it was all based on a lie of some mean girls, some teenage girls who started a rumor. So if you can kind of fast forward that into today, we have mean girls, we have haters, we have mom shamers. And so something inherently, like in our DNA, in our, you know, our brain chemistry, we have that fight or flight thing. So instead of like standing up and standing out, we kind of like recoil. And when these mean girls start to come out and the mom shaming starts to come out, something in us, and not to say that we feel like we're going to be burned at the stake, but proverbial stake, yes, like we're going to be persecuted on live Facebook for everybody to see, and everybody can see their comments, and everybody can see that they think that your comments and your, you know, sweaty selfie is too much, or maybe you shouldn't be wearing your sports bra on Facebook and you should cover yourself up, whatever their opinions are, right? Right? So I've gotten flack on all kinds of stuff from family members, you know, not so much from my friends in this realm. I mean, I did have a girl who I put something up one time about, like, I want to get a tattoo. And, oh, don't get a tattoo. They're so trashy. They're so awful. And I started laughing, so I typed back. I'm like, I have 5 tattoos. Like, and she was like, ugh. But, you know, it's just like, she was so quick to say it, though. Like, don't do it. It's trashy and this and that and whatever. And that's her opinion on it. But, like, it was just a funny thing. You know, like, I've had people tell me, you carry your babies around too much. Like, when they were first hatched, you know, I say they were hatched. They weren't actually hatched. But you carry them around too much, because I'd put them in their pack, and that was the way I could get things done. I'd put them in the pack, and off we'd go. You carry them too much, and blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't co-sleep. You shouldn't do this, and whatever. Like, if you don't want to co-sleep, cool. Don't do it. Put your kid in a crib. Like, good on you. If you want to co-sleep and you want to snuggle, awesome. Like, do whatever you want to do. Like, carry your kids around if you want to. Give them extra, you know, there was that, even like celebrities are not exempt from this, like, shaming, and especially even mom shaming. So this 3 days, 4 days, whatever it ends up being, was not intended to be a mom shaming rant, but that's part of my story. And so it comes up a lot. But I also want you guys to know that when you are taking that step to stand up, stand out, if that is part of your story, that you don't have to tolerate it, that you can still stand up, you can still stand out. And if people are out there giving you that mean girl, like, bullshit, you can invite them to leave your page. You can invite them not to follow you. I had a gal, she opted in for something, and it automatically comes with a 5-day, you know, nurture sequence, like, hey, getting to know you, like, hey, how are you doing with that workbook? Hey, how are you doing with this? A little bit about me, blah, blah, blah. And she, like, gave me a lecture about, you know, an email every day for 5 days is just too much. It's just way too much. And I was like, well, I was just trying to get to know you a little bit and let you get to know me a little bit. Feel free to unsubscribe. And I'm pretty sure she did. And that's okay, because I don't know who she is anyway. I'm just making, and you know what's kind of the funny thing is, if you look at it like this, when you have an email automation list and the email automation, you actually have to pay based on, like, you know, once you get certain numbers of subscribers. So why would you want 500 subscribers that you're actually paying for who don't want to be there, who aren't ever going to buy anything from you, who aren't your ideal dream clients? Like, see you later, get out of here, make room for the ones who are meant to be here. And that's the same with you guys. That's just, you know, you only have 5,000 friend spaces on Facebook. Why clog all those up with people who are going to make you feel bad? Let them go. Get them out. And you can remove them too. If people are on there giving you guys, like, flack and grief, send them on. Like, you're in charge of your Facebook account. You're in charge of your business. You're in charge of the way that you stand up and stand out and share in the world. Right? You get to decide these things. Let me move this up here. There we go. Move you guys down a little bit. Okay, so we also talked about the different things in Forbes, right? You can actually Google, like, Forbes, and you can look up, like, brand categories and subcategories. So, like, a lot of you guys are, like, health and fitness, and which would be, like, under wellness, and then, you know, it breaks it down into further categories. I didn't really break that down for you guys because I didn't think it was overly important, because you guys know what kind of category you fit into. But there is that, and it is provided by Forbes. I was going to tell you guys something else, and I just forgot. I got going on my little rant there and totally forgot. It'll come back. It'll come back. Oh, another thing too that you guys can start doing to start standing out is, and we talked about that book, Get Over Your Damn Self, great book. It's basically intended for network marketers. I don't agree with every part of it. I don't agree with only leading with your business. I more agree with leading with your product, because I don't really think it's, like, not so much ethical is not really the word, but it doesn't resonate well with me to have a product that you're trying to promote that you don't love, because that energy can be picked up on. So once you do know that you love your product and people know that you love your product, then you can start leading with the business opportunity. And there are lots of, this is not a selling mini course. But there are lots of ways to incorporate the business opportunity while you're speaking to customers. But one of the things that I find that is really useful, whether you're an MLM or you're your own boss and you have your own company and you make your own content, is actually speaking to people. I speak to a lot of people now. Like I got kind of in that little like millennial phase where I would only text and I would only messenger and whatever for just a little bit, because that's kind of the trend. That's what everybody else was doing, and that was the way to communicate. But I actually like getting on the phone with people. It's faster for me to figure out what they need. It's faster for me to answer their questions, and the whole conversation from start to finish is less time for me, and it's more accurate. Like I can pick up on their tone. If we're doing it on video, I can pick up on their body language. We're going to talk about body language today. There's a lot that I can cover. You know, I can cover something in 15 minutes, whereas it could be drug out over 2 or 3 days on Messenger. So it's a lot. I like to talk to people on the phone. You guys may consider having some sort of a phone call that you offer to people who are interested in your service or product. I find that it converts really well. I find that it also, I don't know, it sets like a different kind of tone. It sets a different kind of connection to actually speak to somebody on the phone. And I'm not saying you have to give out your phone number. There's like Uber conference that's free. You could get a free Zoom link, all that kind of stuff. So you don't even have to like give out your personal phone number either. And actually, like for Uber conference, they give you like an actual phone number. So when you have a business page on Facebook, you can use that phone number, and you don't have to use like your personal phone number, because they ask you to input a phone number. And so like for security reasons, I would do something like that. It's totally free. Okay. We talked about brain chemistry and people falling in love with your personal brand via your story, because when we hear good stories and people tell us stories, how that kind of like creates that chemical response in our brains, hence why we like to go to the movies and we think that it's fun and all of that good stuff. So that's some more stuff that we, you know, kind of covered. We're just recapping here. For those of you just popping on, feel free to say hi. And I've opened it up a little bit for Q&A. So if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to post those in. So in order to like gain influence, stand out, and get traction, the one thing that I think that you have to do, this is like the crucial thing, and I've talked about it every day so far, is you have to lead with confidence. You have to find something about you, about your business, about your purpose, about your message, that unshakable why, that you can confidently get up and speak about. Something that you stand completely for. Hey, Diane, something that you stand completely against. And that there's nothing that anybody can say or will do that's going to waver the way that you feel about that particular thing. And that's going to be unique for each and every one of you, right? So like I said, my thing is the mom shaming. My thing is somebody who has the guts or the nerve or the balls to tell me like, you shouldn't be running a business. You should be at home wiping your kid's butt. Guess what? I'm here. My kids are here. I happen to have somebody hanging out with them in the other room who they love, but we're all here together. I'm taking an hour, you know, to come hang out with you guys and share my message. And I don't feel guilty about that. I used to, because of all the outside chatter. I used to, but I don't, because there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing. There's nothing wrong with being a mom who works. There's nothing wrong with being a mom who has no desire to work. It's not a competition. So that's my message, and I'm unshakable in it. And it doesn't matter what anybody tells me about it. I'm not quitting. And I want you guys to find that exact same thing in your business, that it doesn't matter what anybody says. It doesn't matter what they tell you. It doesn't matter what they think about it. That you're like, yeah, I know, that's great. Have your opinion. Be a bully. Be an a-hole. Be a mom shamer. Be whatever you want to be, because that's on you. But I'm not quitting, because I'm not doing anything wrong. I love what I'm doing. I'm having a blast. I'm meeting amazing women, and they're getting kick-ass results. So that's how I want you guys to start approaching your business. That's how I want you guys to start standing up and standing out. Find that thing that you unshakably stand for or against. and get out there. And yes, you might lose a couple of followers. That's okay. Like I said, you're making room for the new ones who actually want to be there. So be consistent in that. You're unique in, like, it doesn't matter what your business is. You guys could all, you know, I've got this group of you here. There's almost 1,700 of you. You're all Beachbody coaches, right? In the Goal Getters, we've got a really mixed group of entrepreneurs. It doesn't matter. There's something about you that's going to be different, whether you're in that 1,700 Beachbody coaches. Yes, you're all quote unquote Beachbody coaches, but you're all different. You all have something unique about you. You all have something unique about your story that's different from one another, that's going to connect people who are in that situation where you were first starting. You know, that kind of damsel in distress almost. Not to say that we were damsels in distress, but, you know, that beginning phase before in comes Prince Charming, aka Shakeology, you know, whatever that backstory was. And then on this side of that intervention is your transformation, right? So I want you guys to really, really start to think about and journal out, write it down, however your creative juices get flowing, get it out and figure out what your actual story is and why and how it's impactful for the people who you're speaking to and sharing with. And don't be afraid to share it, because it's your truth. It's who you are. It's how you came to be in this situation. It's how you came to be in this business, in this industry. It's how you came to be, you know, 10, 20, 100 pounds lighter. It's how you came to be somebody healthier. So even, you know, maybe it's, you know, your Rodan in Fields. It's how you came to be with no acne, or you've gotten rid of your wrinkles, or whatever that looks like, right? But that's your truth. And there's no shame in that truth. So share it. Share it, share it, share it, share it, share it. Always share it. We talked about taking action and standing out there and getting out there and positioning yourself as the expert that you are, even if you're not that far along. We talked about, you know, kind of comparing that from, you know, the new mother versus the pregnant lady. And the pregnant lady who's about to have a baby is likely to seek advice from a mother who's a new mother. She doesn't have it all figured out, but she's got the leg up. She's got those, you know, those few months ahead of you where she's got, you know, figured out what works for her, what works for her baby. She knows, like I said, she knows the best butt cream. She knows the best diapers. She knows what bottles make her baby less gassy. She knows those things, and she's happy to tell you about it, right? Okay. We talked about asking questions, getting engagement, having engaging conversations, all of that kind of stuff. So let's talk a little bit now. If you guys don't have any questions, let's talk a little bit now about body language. So, you know what? I think it's in this book. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Maybe it's not in here. This might be the wrong book. Dang it. I'll have to go back and find a different journal that I had. Here it is, maybe. I'm looking for something from a few years ago when I was at Summit. This is it. This is the old book. I saved my old journals, you guys. I learned some stuff at Summit in Nashville a few years ago about body language. And I'm trying to find that for you guys now because it was a really good resource. Hold on, I'm getting closer. Okay, I found it. All right, sorry guys. Sorry that was so slow. Okay, so found the day. Sorry guys, I wasn't even thinking about doing this, but I just remembered that I had this. No, not that, not that. Okay, so there was a speaker when I went to this event, and her name was Vanessa Van Edwards. And I have a little note next to her name, The Power of Nonverbal. I don't know if that was a book or if that's her website or the name of her business or what. She actually says that 60% of our communication is nonverbal. So that's the way we move our arms, that's the way we sit in our chair, that's the way we carry our posture. In one of the challenges that I did before, that confidence, clarity, and community challenge, I talked about like even something as simple as when your kid comes home from school, maybe he had a bad day, and you're sitting at the dinner table and you're like, hey buddy, how's your day going? Mom, it was okay. I don't really want, I'm hungry, I'm gonna eat. And so he's eating his dinner. And he's just kind of hunched over and he's just kind of like, eh. But the difference is if he had a great day and Mom, it was so cool. So I was climbing on the monkey bars and I was doing this, and this kid over here did this, and we had a race and we did the things and blah, blah, blah. You see just that difference even just in your shoulders of being kind of like hunched forward versus like, yes, yes, yes. So when you guys are out there, when you're sharing your message, whether you're speaking in public, you're on video, you're taking a photograph, you want to be able, and by no means am I an expert on this, but these are just things that I've picked up on for myself, that I've picked up on that I can kind of see in other people. You want to share something of confidence because then your body naturally postures itself in a better way. Your body, you know, your hands get moving. There was something in here that she said that I'll never forget, is when you take a picture and it shows like your hands or one of your hands, it instantly adds some sort of trust. And I don't remember why she said that. I'm going to have to go back and look it up. But 60% of our message is delivered with our body language, according to Vanessa Van Edwards. She said that the nonverbal has 13 times more weight than just the words. So I could get up here, and I did this, I remember in college, I did something kind of like this in speech class. And we took a song, like a famous song. You know, so I did Hotel California by the Eagles, and we took the song, and he said, you have to read it in a different tone than the way the song is written. It was really, really hard. So I told it kind of like a ghost story almost, you know, like, and just the message came across so differently than singing it in a song and having, you know, more of that like swaggery, upbeat, telling it in like that ooh, kind of like tone changes everything. So your tone, your body language, the way, you know, I don't have the best like just natural like sitting posture. Like a lot of us have that like curve in our back, but you can still tell the difference of when you're like, so I am a Beachbody coach, or like, oh, I'm a health coach. Do you see like just the instant difference in that? Like I'm a nutritionist, I'm a health coach, I'm teamed up with Beachbody, like, or, you know, whatever your company, whatever your business is, there's a huge difference in the way that we deliver. So yes, it is going to be 12, 13 times more impactful when we deliver ourselves from a place of confidence, from a place of surety, from a place of knowing like, you know what, I can't fail here. Even if they don't want what I'm selling, I can't fail. So I want you guys to remember that. So when we make our first impression, that's the moment that we're seen. So, you know, if you walk up to somebody and you see them like across the room and they're flipping somebody off, that's like your eyes. Like, even if you haven't spoken to them, that's your actual first impression of them, right? So that's not something that can be unseen. So the way that you just carry yourself in general is going to be the first impression that you give to other people, whether you mean to or not. It's not always the words that we speak. And this, you know, when you walk, if you walk with confidence, if you kind of have, not so much even like a swagger, but you just show up like, yeah, okay. Like, and I went to a gem fair last week or something, and I don't even know where they were collecting tickets because I just walked right in, like I owned the place, I guess. I don't know, because nobody ever asked me for my ticket, and I had tickets. I had tickets for me and the boys. Nobody ever asked me. I guess they just assumed that I'd been there all day, or I don't know. Because I saw some other people who had gotten their tickets like torn or something, but I didn't even see a ticket collector, to be totally honest. But like sometimes you know, like if you just walk in like you own the place or like you've been there before, people don't tend to question you because they were like, oh yeah, she's been here before. Look, you know, like just by your body language. So when you are going to be doing a presentation, if you plan to be a presenter at all, work on your entrance and your exit in your body language, the way you carry yourself when you walk in, right? So the reason why, this is what Vanessa says, the reason why when we're scared or unconfident or unsure, we feel like, you know, she calls it like winner body language, loser body language, which I don't really love that, but like the winner takes up the big space. Everything's grand. You know, there's the bigger movements. There's, you know, that open chest, right? Whereas when you're kind of stuck feeling like, you know, in that kind of loser mindset or that uncertainty, that lack of confidence, you're closed. And that's like your body's instinctual way to protect your, like, these are all your vital organs here. And you kind of round forward and close those off. Just as you do, like when you get really cold, we tend to do this. It's a lot the same. It's like a protection mechanism. It still goes back to that fight or flight thing, right? And then you also do it too, like, every time we check our phones. We don't check our phones like this. We check our phones like this. Have you ever noticed that? And I don't know what the reason for that is. So we also have the way we hold our body, the way we show up can also change those chemicals that we have in our body, those hormones, the cortisol, the stress hormone. And it can't, if we have too much of that cortisol and we're always like in that fight or flight mode, I guess, if you will, you're going to actually decrease your immune system. So there's that. So high power body language increases testosterone. Not that all of us women want a ton more testosterone, but oh, wait. Yes. And then that helps you actually shake off the stress. Whereas if you have poor body image, and a lot of us do, I've been struggling with this myself, with the extra weight that I've been carrying around. If you have poor body image, your testosterone levels go down. And yes, women do have some testosterone, and your cortisol levels go up, and your stress is higher, and your weight is higher. So there's a physical impact on your body, the way you show up in the world. So if you're scared and you're always showing up like this, like, well, I'm a health coach. That's a lot different than showing up and, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a health coach. There was nothing major there. That wasn't big. It wasn't grand. I wasn't being over the top, but it was, oh, I'm a health coach. So it's even just a simple shift like that, a simple shift of picking up from our phones and being mindful that when we're watching our phones, how we carry our bodies. And there's probably a direct correlation to everybody being on their phones and having that higher cortisol, probably for myself even. So back before there were video games and all that kind of stuff, most people as a whole had a higher body language, like a higher power body language. We performed better. And this could actually be evidence, like, you think about, like, there's evidence of this because, like, before you used to, like, go into a soccer game, before you used to sit for a test, you'd kind of, like, you know, sometimes people, like, get the juices flowing, I guess, if you will, right? That's like a form of that. That energy is getting things moving for you. Whereas now everybody's just on their phones or on their video games or whatever, and then, oh, it's time, and they slipped it over. They don't change their body position, and then they start. Think about the last time you were at the DMV and you had to take the written test. It was probably the exact same. So just being mindful of that. Keep your arms loose, open up your torso, keep your shoulders down. And these are probably things that you've never even thought of. I never thought of these until a few years ago when I heard her talking about this. Keep your hands visible. She says that makes you appear more confident. It makes people trust you more. So you don't have to like be like this in the thing, but just keep your hands naturally flowing in the way that you would, that you were having a natural conversation. Try to have a different, like a good posture. The distance between your ears and shoulders, all that kind of stuff should be more than less, that type of thing. I don't really want to spend a whole ton of time on this, but I just thought that it was really worth mentioning. Pictures, the more space that you take up in the picture, the higher the confidence seems. So that's why a lot of people kind of crop down their pictures. Trust indicators, your hands. What part of the body do you typically see first? It's your hands. So jurors, here's a little tidbit of fact. Jurors find, what did I write there? Oh, okay. So the defendant, I put jurors find the D, like the, whatever. They define the defendant more sneaky and untrustworthy when they have their hands under the table instead of resting on top of it. You guys can't see the top of my desk, but instead of like resting on top of the table, subconsciously they find them to be more sneaky and untrustworthy. So keeping your hands visible, showing explanations, you know, and your intention, all of that stuff. Some of the best speakers demonstrate with their hands. Putting their hands on their lap is no good. So yeah, showing your hands, that's a good one. The other thing that I think is good that I like about being in person with people is when you touch somebody, when you physically touch somebody, you shake their hand, you give them a hug, you give them a pat on the back, put your arm around them. That triggers the oxytocin in your brain to be released, and it makes you happy. It makes you feel good. It's like your cuddle hormone. When you cuddle with your kids or your spouse, that's the hormone that's released, and it just makes you feel good. It warms your heart. It's said to be the chemical of connection. So that's, you know, and that goes back a long, long time. The handshake, the hug, those go back a long, long time. That hug is so nurturing, right? So always try to shake somebody's hand. If you're a hugger, be a hugger. Handshaking is like a North American tradition for the most part. Using vocal power. So like when I did that example with the little kid who was just kind of like sitting there like this, mumbling his words a little bit, Mom, everything was okay. That's a lot different than sitting up and, you know, kind of like when I get going on those rants and I'm like, no, 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 you know, like stand up, stand out, you know, say what you want to say and say it louder. That vocal power exudes your confidence when you're actually confident, right? So just getting up and yelling, that's not going to show your confidence. But when you're really confident, that energy is just going to come out of you. It's going to be in your body language naturally. You're not even going to have to think about it. You're going to wave your hands around like I do, like a crazy person half the time, and you're just going to get that message out. But start to be mindful, maybe, and I don't want you guys to overthink this or anything, but maybe come back and notice like your body language, like was I sitting like this? Or was I sitting like this and showing my hands and gaining that trust just by keeping my hands visible and giving that storytelling and opening everything up and having my chest open and the space between my ears and my shoulders? What does that look like in your video? You can go back and do that, right? So she gave us some other stuff about like you breathe out on hello, like hello. I'm not going to teach you guys all that because it's not like, that's not my zone of genius. But I really do feel like some of these other things were worth a mention, especially because going live on video, speaking at Super Saturday, becoming a speaker at Summit, these things can be possibilities for you guys, like real possibilities. So I want you guys to think about that. Think about that in your future. doing live videos is a real possibility for you guys. And that was like one of the things that I got the feedback from on from more than just one person on that video scholarship. It's like, I might just rather pay than do the scholarship. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I'm basically offering you $1,000 to do a 1 to 2 minute video on why you want to go on the retreat. So if you won't take $1,000 to do a video, like, how are you going to take $1,000 worth of videos, like, for growing your business? How are you going to put yourself out there in a more vulnerable way and expose your story and share yourself if you're not willing to do it for $1,000 for something that's really, like, you know, it's actually not putting yourself really out there, right? It was saying why you wanted to go on the retreat and what it would mean for you to grow your business. It's not that you weren't selling anything, you weren't asking for anything in return necessarily. It was just, so I think that a lot of us, when we get the idea of like, oh my God, I got to do any kind of public speaking, because it's one of the biggest fears in the world. And it's real. It's a real fear. Like, it has its own name. I have no idea what it's called, but it has its own name, and it's a true to life fear. So I think that a lot of times when people start to think about, oh my God, I got to go on live video, I still get nervous, you guys. I still get nervous. But once I get going and I get that message going and I get all the wheels turning and I get, like, look at me going with my hands like a crazy person. Like I said, once I get going, it's sometimes hard to stop because I'm like, yes, yes, yes. You know, and then you guys pop on here and, you know, give me your feedback and you ask the questions, and that propels the conversation. So it's, you know, that's the interaction. That's that trust building. Okay, Gabriella, I agree with you. I like to travel a lot. Actually, in 2 days, I'm leaving to Europe. I want to go to Europe with you for 3 weeks to visit my parents. That's awesome. What part of Europe are you going to go to? That's so cool. I'm so jealous. So you guys might want to look up this gal that, what is her name? Vanessa Van Edwards. She talks about micro expressions. Like, one thing that I remember is it was like an interview on like The Bachelor or something I don't watch. And the girl was saying, yeah, she's like, yeah, but she was like shaking her head like this. She had no idea she was shaking her head. Most of us didn't catch that, like, because the guy was like giving her a line of crap, and she's like, yeah, you know, like, and her head was just ever so slightly shaking. Like, you could tell she didn't believe a word he was saying just by that simple movement. Another thing that they came up with too is that babies, even blind babies, know to smile. Like, they know, like, it's like a genetic wiring. It's not necessarily a learned trait, because a blind, you know, blind children know to smile when they're experiencing pleasure or joy. She recommends on Netflix, and I don't know if it's still on Netflix, guys, because this was years ago. Could be on Amazon now, but Lie to Me is the movie she recommended. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I wrote down her website. I don't think I did, but that's all I wrote down for her anyways. I'm going to flag this because I actually want to go back to it myself. So with all that, when you show up on your videos, when you're sharing your story, share it with confidence. If there's a part of your story that you're afraid to share, really, really, really kind of like dig in and be like, why am I afraid to share this? Am I afraid to share it because somebody's going to say something? Who's going to say it? Are you afraid to share it because it's hard, because it's really vulnerable? That's something that is probably going to really speak to other people. You're probably, sorry, dog hair. Like I said, I was out with the critters this morning before I came in here. You're probably not the only person who's going through that type of, you know, I'll call it the backstory. And not to say that your story isn't, you know, to discredit it at all, but that's what's going to relate people into you and be like, all right, she gets me. She knows what it's like. She's like, okay, like, she's overcome this, whatever that is for you. And you, like I said, when we talked about it in yesterday's video about telling your story, you don't have to air all the dirty laundry. You don't have to tell every detail. You just have to say, I had this situation, in comes this hero, this Prince Charming, whatever your Prince Charming is, and this was the outcome, the positive outcome, my happy ever after. That's all. You can share as much or as little as you want. Hey Gina, let's see what else we've got. Oh, I'm going to share it with you guys today. I think we have enough time today. I think we have enough time today to share it today that we don't actually necessarily even have to do a video tomorrow. We've talked about your fears. We've talked about being seen. We've talked about your story. We've talked about writing down your fears, asking if they're true. If they are true, asking if it's worth no longer doing your business over. Yeah, so I want to talk to you guys just in this last little, I've got another 10 minutes before I have a call with one of my one-on-one clients. When you're doing your own pictures. So I have this ring light over here, and you know, just the round circle lights, and I'm sitting in front of a window. So even if I turn off the light, hold on, let's see. There's still a bunch of brightness shining on my face, right? So when you're going to take a picture, you get so much more light. Stand in front of a window, and it's going to give you, you know, because you're not probably going to be using the flash on your iPhone or anything like that, right? So stand in front of a window or a sliding glass door, or open your front door, whatever. Just that natural light coming in makes such a difference. The other thing that I recommend when you're taking pictures is take it slightly from above. Even my camera here is slightly from above, because if you have it, well, let me just show you. Hold on. Taking you guys on a journey. If you put it from below, you get that nice extra chin element there. Even if you don't like have like a double chin or whatever, this angle is terrible. So, hold on. Taking you guys on a ride. So, that, just the angle alone. So this is maybe an inch above the top of my head. That angle alone, I mean, it's just an angle thing. It's not even really to say like, hey, you've got a double chin. It's not even about that. The other thing is when you're standing, even if you have your arm flat, pop it out just a smidge, because even if you have the fittest arms and it smashes your bicep down, that compared to that, it like makes it look so different, and it makes it look so, you know, bigger than it is. So that was another suggestion that I have picked up along the way, is you just kind of, and it doesn't have to be all the way out. You don't have to stand like, you know, a chicken or anything with little chicken wings. You just pop it off of your body so it's not resting flat on your body. But those are some tips that I like just for everyday selfies and taking pictures. So that way you're not having to have filters if you don't want to. You're not having, because I don't like Snapchat or anything like that, so I don't get the cute little halo-y things. I don't have those. But those things I've found have really worked. So also too, you can get, mine is missing. You can get like a little tripod that you can take around with you. I have one up here. Oh, hang on. I have like this one that's like flexy, so that you can turn it this way or turn it this way. And you can put this, it's got like I said, it's like flexy. You can wrap it around something or whatever. That way, if you have to, you know, maybe you don't have the ability or the time or whatever, you know, you want to do a picture or video of your workout or whatever, you just get a little tripod like this for 10 bucks or 20 bucks on Amazon. Easy peasy. You can set the timer on your phone. You can set the video and then do like a screen share, like a screenshot clip. And that's going to be a money-saving way that you can get good quality pictures without having to always hire a photographer. So just even that slight shift in angle, like it's just a tiny bit. And then it cuts out all, like, you know, like, like I showed you guys, that kind of double chin look. And, you know, it like makes your shoulder, depending what you're wearing, like it could actually accentuate your shoulders a little bit differently. And I don't know, it's just, it's really worked well for me. So I thought that I would share that with you guys. I'm going to come back here again tomorrow, same time, same place. I don't have a ton more to share on this topic. I feel like instead of keeping it, you know, to shorter videos, I kind of just kept going over the last 3 days instead of saving a ton for tomorrow. But I'm going to check back in here tomorrow with you guys. We'll do straight Q&A tomorrow and see how everybody's feeling about this content, about this challenge, any questions that you have, about the branding course. I'm getting really great workbooks back from you guys, so just make sure you're putting your name in so I know that you submitted it, so that you can be entered to win. And a couple of you guys are already popping in to get the self-study version of the workbooks and the branding course, so that's really cool. I feel like you guys are going to have so much fun with that, and you're going to get so much out of it. If you feel like it, and those of you who purchase this, you'll know, feel free to send me a copy or post in this group of your octopus, and you'll definitely know what I'm talking about once you get through that module. I think it's in module 2 or 3. So that's everything I have for today, you guys. I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Again, oh, excuse me, post any pictures that you have, any comments that you have, any questions, all of that stuff. I'm happy to answer it for you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.